This video is about something extremely important. It's the one thing that defines which countries will progress and which will be left behind. Every year, many people ask, is America about to collapse? Some ask out of worry, others out of excitement. But all these people ignore one very basic thing. There is one factor in this world, one thing that decides which nations will develop and which will always remain poor, which societies will stay strong and which will stay unstable. Very few people know about this concept, even though it has determined the fate of civilizations for thousands of years. This thing is not ideology, not intelligence, and not technology. The most important and deciding factor in shaping the destiny of nations is geography, the land beneath your feet, the rivers, mountains, plains, and seas, which you did not choose, but were simply born. Everything happening in the world today. Why Africa is still poor. Why some countries remain trapped in war and conflict. All of these things ultimately connect to one thing: geography. Once you understand geography as the real reason behind progress, human history begins to look completely different. Instead of random events, you start seeing pattern. You begin to understand why some regions got ahead early in the race for development, while others struggled for centuries. To understand this concept, we need to go back into history. Imagine history like a strategy game, where the land you get at the start determines your entire future. Humans were first born in East Africa and slowly spread across the world. These places were not chosen randomly. Over thousands of years, humans settled in 6 special regions, which later became the great civilizations of the world. They had water, food, protection, and mobility, everything that was a dream in ancient times. These 6 areas were Colon, the Olmec region in Mexico, the Norte Chico and Inca regions in Peru, the Nile River in Egypt, Mesopotamia, in the Indus Valley, in today's Pakistan and India, Yellow River Basin, in China, where the first cities emerged, where reading and writing began, where governments formed, and populations grew. The success of these civilizations wasn't because of culture or technology, it was because of geography. Because if you want a society to survive for thousands of years, what do you need? You need fresh water. Because no population survives without it. You need fertile land that can continuously grow food. You need natural protection like mountains, deserts, or seas that can shield you from enemies. And you need easy transportation, such as long.com rivers, so goods can move easily. Now, look at the Nile River in Egypt. It had all these qualities. It's as if nature handpicked Egypt and gave it everything a society needed. The pyramids of Egypt were not a coincidence. They were the result of stability, food security, and safety. Egypt prospered because of 3 things. Colon. The Nile River was the world's most predictable river. It overflowed gently and on time every year, giving farmers fertile soil. This allowed Egypt to feed millions easily. 2. The Nile was a natural highway. It connected the entire country from south to north. Boats could travel north with the river's flow and return south with the wind. No other ancient civilization had such easy and efficient transport. 3. The region around the Nile was surrounded by desert. It worked like a natural wall. Attacking Egypt meant crossing miles of burning desert. Very few armies could survive that, because of food, security, and transportation all being in its favor. Egypt enjoyed a level of stability no one else had. It remained a top civilization for nearly 3,300 years, and only then did its decline begin. This is the power of geography. It gives some nations a head start from the very beginning. As centuries passed, the world population grew. In the early Common Era, the world had only 200 million people. By 1500, the population reached 500 million. By 1800, it became 1 billion. Then growth accelerated. After World War II, the world reached 3 billion, and today it is over 8 billion. As people increased, competition increased. Societies began clashing with each other. Borders were pushed, broken, expanded, and redrawn over and over. Europe became a constant battlefield, where kingdoms kept colliding. In China, dynasties rose and fell repeatedly. Japan shifted between peace and war. Africa became trapped in instability and chaos. Then by 1900, everything changed. Technology changed the world. Railways, steamships, telegraphs, airplanes, machine gun, and finally, nuclear weapons showed what humanity could do and how dangerous it could become. The world became a global village, and power now depended less on armies marching across field and more on industry, technology, and resources. After 2 world wars, No major country openly expanded its borders by force. Nuclear weapons made invasions extremely risky. Air forces made it easy to cross mountains, deserts, and sea. The world map became more stable, and borders drawn after 1945 mostly remained the same. In this new, peaceful global system, the countries with the strongest geography began to progress the most. When the Ice Age ended, massive glaciers in North America melted and created natural harbors, perfect for global trade. Europe also had good harbors, which is why European nations dominated world trade for centuries. But North America had even bigger advantages because its coastline is very long. The eastern coast of the US is filled with deep water ports. Boston, New York, Philadelphia, Baltimore, Charleston, and many others. These ports allow large ships to come close to land, unload quickly, and return fast. But America's true treasure is not its coastline. It is the Mississippi River Basin at the center of the country. This region has the world's most fertile soil and the highest number of navigable rivers. Boats can travel thousands of miles inside the US, carrying grain, wood, coal, and goods cheaply. It is as if nature designed this river system as a vast network of free highway. The Mississippi flows into the Gulf of Mexico, which then opens into the Atlantic Ocean. This means goods from the center of America can reach the ocean cheaply, and from there, the entire world. This allowed the US to sustain itself better than any other country and become an export powerhouse. This is why the US became rich so quickly. And then came the biggest real estate deal in human history, the Louisiana Purchase in 1803. Thomas Jefferson bought the entire Mississippi Basin from France for what would be about $340 million today. Land now worth over $60 trillion. One deal changed America's destiny. With fertile land, perfect rivers, 2 giant oceans for protection, and many deep water pools, no country could compete. That is why the US became the world's dominant power. Geography gave it a head start no one else had. Now let's look at other big regions that should have been as rich as America, but aren't. Single quotes. Every country wants to rise, grow, and dominate. But not all can, because they were not given ideal geography. Take China. It looks powerful on the map, but its geography keeps it under constant pressure. China has access to only one major ocean, and even that is partially blocked by Japan, Taiwan, and Vietnam. These create natural choke point that China, the Philippines, cannot control. About 80% of China's oil passes through the narrow Strait of Malacca, a passage enemies can block any time. A blockade would cripple China's energy supply and economy. This is why China spends billions to build new routes to the Indian Ocean through Pakistan, Myanmar, and Central Asia. Look at Russia. It is the largest country in the world, but faces enormous geographic challenges. Its western border is wide, flat, and undefended. No natural barrier. That is why Napoleon in 1812 and Hitler in 1941 marched straight toward Moscow. Second, Russia has almost no warm water port. Most of its ports freeze in winter. Without warm ports, Russia struggles with trade. This is why it fights for access in Crimea and Syria. Britain, on the other hand, ruled the world for centuries. Its geography gave it huge advantages. It was safe from invaders and had 360 ocean access, allowing it to build the world's greatest navy. That navy extended British control across the globe, but after aircraft were invented, everything changed. During World War II, German jets reached London in just 30 minutes. The English Channel, once Britain's greatest defense, became useless. As technology advanced, Britain's geographic strength weakened. Meanwhile, the US, with 2 great oceans and massive fertile land, rose and took the crown of global superpower. Let's talk about Africa, a land rich in mineral, fertile soil, and natural resources. In theory, Africa should have been a global superpower, but geography became a curse. Africa's coastline is also smooth, which looks beautiful on a map, but is terrible for building ports. Europe and North America have jagged coastlines with natural harbors where ships can shelter from storms. Africa lacks this luxury, making ports difficult and expensive to build. Without easy ports and navigable rivers, Africa struggled to build a strong economy. Without shipping, global trade was limited, and without global trade, development remained slow. When you look at the world through the lens of geography, everything becomes clear. It all comes down to 3 simple questions. 1. Can you feed your people? 2. Can you defend your land? 3. Can you trade with the world? If the answer to all 3 is yes, that country will develop. If even one answer is no, that country will always struggle. Today, the US is the only country that can confidently say yes to all 3. It has the most productive farmland in the world, 2 giant oceans as shield, and direct access to both the Atlantic and Pacific, through deep water ports. But this doesn't mean geography controls everything. Politics, technology, culture, and economics also matter. But geography decides the starting point. It sets the advantages and disadvantages. It determines whether the game of progress will be easy or difficult. People ask, why is Africa poor? Why is China so aggressive? Or is America about? They often miss the most obvious factor. Geography writes the silent story of every nation's rise and fall. Geography rarely changes, so the advantages a country gets can last for centuries. What does change is how a nation's leaders use those advantages. If you liked the video, share it with others and subscribe to the channel. Take care.